Hello and welcome to Broken Entertainment. So today we're going to talk about Godzilla's Singular Point a little bit. Um, I'm really hoping this anime ends up being good, but I have some reservations about it, in part just because Godzilla's animated history is not great. And that includes the really recent anime that was the three-part um, movie anime they did for the show. And it really wasn't very good. And the vast majority of people who have seen it don't like it at all. The characters were totally unlikable. The monsters got silly. I mean, we got this super massive Godzilla and this weird story arc where Godzilla was Earth and Earth was Godzilla and everything was a Godzilla, but nothing. And they brought in Mechagodzilla, but then they didn't bring in Mechagodzilla, and it was just all very weird. And you got Space Noodle Ghidorah, and that's the kind of thing I don't want them to get into. That's the kind of thing. The really weird stuff is what usually puts me off of anime, and we've talked about the trailers a little bit, and they're okay. I really like the first trailer with the monsters focus, but the one that gets into the characters feels really anime-ish to me, which I know it is an anime. It's just one of those things where it's like that trailer was almost all the things I don't like about anime put together into a trailer. So I'm kind of worried that it's going to be a lot of that. But they finally revealed what Godzilla looks like. And yeah. So I'll show that in just a second. But Godzilla's face I thought was really cool. It was a really menacing introduction when they showed just his face. But I think when you get down to the picture here, it's not great. It looks to me like they tried to do kind of a millennial Godzilla mixed with sort of a more realistic approach where they made him kind of like a dinosaur and made him a little less upright, gave him a really huge butt. I mean, look at these thighs. Like, it just doesn't work for me at all. It's like, I get what you're trying to do. They're trying to kind of make it like a T-Rex, but a T-Rex's body is differently shaped completely than Godzilla. Well, there's not a lot of good pictures of T-Rex. Here's one. Where his thighs kind of merge into the body, whereas this one you're getting just like, the T-Rex one blends in pretty well, fits his shape pretty well, but this one's still pretty upright, whereas if you wanted to make it work, you'd have to make it more forward like a T-Rex. And then you've got this big tail, so it's like they're trying to do this more realistic dinosaur approach, but then they give him kind of the upper body of Millennium Godzilla and the spine's kind of Millennium Godzilla, and then they give him this head, which up close looks really good, but from a distance looks kind of goofy. I think this looks pretty good, but this looks kind of weird. Kind of hard to put my finger on it, really. But the giant butt just just throws it all off for me. Now, of course, with any Godzilla design, you really have to see it in the movie to either fully appreciate it or fully reject it, because one still image, it's going to depend a lot on how he moves. It's going to depend a lot on the different angles and different shots. You may not see this kind of fat-butted look all that often in the anime based on how he's positioned and moving. And if that's the case, not a big deal. Even if he does look like this all the time, it's not that bad. it's funny. It's distracting, but it's the kind of thing that if the anime is good, you won't really care. Godzilla in Godzilla Mothra King Ghidorah had a little bit of a pot belly. He wasn't super fat, but he had a little bit of a pot belly. And people made fun of him for that, but it's still a generally well-liked version of Godzilla. It's very menacing in a lot of other ways, so that didn't really distract from it that much. And when you're watching the movie, you immediately, that kind of goes by the wayside. Really hope this anime is good. Wish it wasn't on Netflix, but I'm hoping that this picture doesn't do it justice. And I'm hoping that we get a good story with characters that are actually likable, because that last anime, I tried to watch it, and I watched about 10 minutes of it and just turned it off because I didn't like any of the characters. I mean, they were all dicks. It was just unwatchable to me, and a lot of other people felt kind of the same way. So I think a good animated Godzilla would be a nice turn of events, since you have to go back to, the 90s for that? So I'd like to see a good animated Godzilla, and I'd like to see some more Japanese Godzilla movies. I think Legendary is doing a decent job for an American company on Godzilla. And apparently they're going to go to HBO Max, so we'll see what that's like. But yeah, I'm excited to see it, if only to see if it's any good or worth watching. But if you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed, hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you next time.